Hi, and welcome to my presentation over People First Language. What is People First Language? People First Language focuses mainly on identifying strengths and abilities, personality styles, and diversity in individuals before you go ahead and talk about their disability. So People First Language is student-centered, not ability-centered. When we talk in People First Language, we should be focusing on the positive aspects of the student, not things that they are able or disabled to do. My district, Seaman USD 345, does a pretty good job at People First Language. This is something we get trained on occasionally and things that we are aware of just from professional development or work with our special education teachers. However, over the course of my 5 years at Seaman, I've heard several different things being said that does not qualify as People First Language. One example was that diabetic student will need access to their phones in class in order to monitor blood sugar levels. That is not People First Language. Another example would be a new behavioral disordered student will be joining your room today to try to become integrated into the classroom. The last example was the autistic students will be out in the hallways working on social skills. These are all things that we can improve on and conversations that can be said in a much better fashion. Instead of using those prime examples, I rephrase them to a more people-first centered approach. Instead of talking about the diabetic student, we should say, so-and-so has special permission to be on her phone to monitor her blood sugar since she's been diagnosed as diabetic. Instead of saying that a student is a behavioral disorder student, we should say, so-and-so will be joining your classroom today. He is quiet and kind, but can shut down due to his past history of trauma. And lastly, instead of labeling students as autistic students, we could mention that our STAR classroom will be mingling with students of different ability levels today. Please be sure to welcome them into your conversations. Here are some more examples. Say this, not that. Say student with autism, not autistic student. Say student with a learning disability, not a mentally impaired student. Say student who is in a wheelchair, not wheelchair-bound student. Say student diagnosed as bipolar instead of insane student. Say student with an auditory disability instead of deaf student. Say student diagnosed with depression as opposed to an emo student. All in all, we need to focus on the abilities of our students, not what makes them different from everybody else. I found this quote that I really liked, and it changed my thought process when I was thinking about People First Language in college when I first had this lesson. It says, there's only one way to look at things until someone shows us how to look at them with different eyes. While we might be used to using language that's not people first centered, it's never too early to start trying. And here are the sources I used. Thank you for watching.